Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on NCVER end of the year reporting. I'm just going to wait for a couple more minutes for any last participants to join us. In the meantime, if you can't hear me properly, or if you have any issues with your microphones or speakers or anything, do let us know in the chat so we can fix it before we start the webinar. Today's session, I want to show you how to check your courses, your units, check your learners, your course enrollments, update your 2019 outcomes for the unit enrollment, update your start and end dates, finalize your learners and complete the enrollments, run some data integrity reports to help you with your reporting, as well as show you how you can run your NCVER exports and submit it to the department. All right, now before I go ahead, any questions or any troubles with seeing my screen or hearing my voice or anything of that sort? Oh, good. Okay, the first step is to check your courses. And with most of your VET courses, the good thing is you can import the course from TGA, which is training.gov.au. So most of the information would come in. But in some cases, if you've not imported your courses and if you've manually created a course in the system, then you have to ensure that the course code, the course description, the recognition status, the VET flag, and the nominal hours are entered into the system correctly, and they have to match what you see in TGA under your scope of registration. Right? In some cases, if it's state-based programs, then we can't bring in all your unit of competencies into the system. Only the course information comes in. So in that case, obviously certain fields are missing, then please ensure you go into the courses, edit the course, and put in the information in there. Same goes with your units. Now, with your units, if it's a full qualification that you're importing, as I said before, all the unit of competencies are imported as well. So the unit code, the description, and everything is in the correct format. You just have to ensure these details are correct for manually added units. So especially when you choose units from a different training package, let's say you're delivering a certificate 4, but you've taken units from a Cert 2 or a Cert 3 or a diploma, then you'll have to manually link it to this course. If you have done that in WiseNet, then please ensure these details are entered correctly. Now, the reason I'm stressing on the field of education is also because of the duplicate unit error that you get when you submit your files. So if you see a duplicate unit error, usually you will see the error stating only one record is permitted for subject identifier. It doesn't mean that there's only one unit that should be in the application. You can have multiple instances of the unit. It just means that it has to be against different courses. You can't have the same unit listed against the same course multiple times, okay? But this error also is given when the units don't match. So basically, I've given you an example here. So if you look at the unit description, there's a typo in the word called solution. So this also picks up as a duplicate error. So you have to ensure, if you see that error, the first thing you have to check is if the unit codes are matching, the description, the type, and of course the supervised hours. Sometimes, the system does allow multiple hours because you do have that unit being core against one and elective against the other. So you do have the option of choosing the way you want to deliver it or the type of the unit. So the supervised hours usually don't throw this error, but definitely the code and description, and also the field of education. So if you have multiple instances of this unit, you have to ensure the field of education is the same. So if you go into TGA and search for this unit in TGA, it will show you what is the correct field of education. and please ensure you put that against every copy of that unit in the application. Now, we do have the 0003 report in the system. So run the 0003 and apply a filter for the unit code. So when you validate your files, you will get an error against the unit itself. So you will get to know the unit code. Put that in the filter and then run it to Excel so you can quickly see what are the fields that are not matching and if there are any typos in the description or the code. Any questions? So this is a very common error that people get for the NAT60, which is your unit file. All right, let's talk about the learners. With the learners, it's pretty straightforward, and it's mostly anything to do with their USI, a date of birth is in the wrong format, or the survey status is missing, or the address information is not correct, or of course the demographic information like the labor force status, the schooling information, or their indigenous statuses and disability is missing. That's when you get errors against the learners, and it's pretty straightforward to fix because it'll give you the learner unique identifier. So you put that identifier under the learners and search, and then you can go into that field and fix the issue. Now, the point that I'm going to stress here is with the demographic information, sometimes your students don't give you all the information. You know, if that's the case, you do have the option of choosing not stated. So you can't leave it blank. Blank is not an acceptable, reply to the department. So you'll have to put it as not stated and submit not stated as an option if the student has not given you that information. So please do not leave anything blank on the demographic page. Choose not stated for the ones that the student hasn't answered. All right, so the 0316 report is our client awareness summary report, which gives you all the fields that are required for awareness purposes in one report, so you can quickly check what fields are missing for the students. The best way to run the report is by applying a date filter and filter it by anyone with the start date in last year. And again, run the same report with anyone with end date in the last year. The reason for this is, you have to submit continuing students as well. So you may have students from 2017 or 2018 who continued into 2019 and who have completed their course in 2019, plus students who have started in 2019. So you have to report both these sets of students. So it's best to filter the reports for start date as well as the end date. The unique student identifier, we used to have a lot of errors on these, last year, but I'm sure because it was made mandatory, most of your students will have the USI this year and would be verified. But if you're still having issues, we do have reports in the system that can, give you information on the missing USIs and stuff. It's called a student number report. So I will show you that report when we go into the system and when we run these reports. Okay. Now, against the course enrollment, there's a field called commencing course identifier. So for students who started in 2018 and who continued into 19, when you submitted your files in Feb 2019, you would have updated this field to a 4. You have to do that even for your students who started in 19 who are continuing into 2020. So we do have a wizard for this under the Learners Enrollment Update wizard. We will go through it in some time when we go into the LRM, but remember to update this field before you do your reporting. And the 359 report is a report that will pick up this field and show you any students who either are missing this field or who are still having a 3 if they're continuing to 2020. And you can quickly go and bulk update them from the course offer or through the wizard that I'm talking about. Now, with your outcomes, what we recommend is you do not update final outcomes for 2020 before you complete the NCVER reporting. So I've given you an example here. For a student who started a unit last year, or even in 2018, and who ended in 2019, you can update the final outcome. But for a student who started the unit last year and who's ended it, let's say today, if you give them a 20, it's going to throw an error, because according to the department, you're submitting all your 2019 files, and it is going to take the end date as 2020 and expect a 70 outcome, because they're wanting the data as of the 31st of December 2019. So what we usually recommend is, not wait until the end of Feb. I know the due date is by the end of Feb to submit your files, but if your data is already checked and if you've completed and updated the enrollments, I think you should just submit it now, just to avoid these errors. Because obviously your trainers are going to be updating outcomes for this year, and as and when they update the outcomes, it's going to pick it up as a validation error, which you don't want it to. All right, now let's talk about finalizing enrollments. When I say finalizing enrollments, I'm talking about people who have completed their course. So the first thing that you have to do is update the enrollment status to completed and ensure the 3 main fields for the qualification is completed. If the student is doing, let's say has enrolled into a qual but hasn't completed it and is getting a statement of attainment, then you don't have to worry about this because there's no qualification that is being issued. But if the student is completing an entire qual and you're issuing a certificate or a testament, then this needs to be ticked. The date you issued the certificate has to be put in, as well as the parchment number. Now, if you are running these credentials out of WiseNet, you don't have to worry about this, because as soon as you issue a credential, it automatically updates these fields. I'm only stressing this for clients who run the credentials outside the system, which we usually don't recommend. So if you're still running these credentials outside of WiseNet, do talk to us, because it's very easy to run it through WiseNet and it'll save you a lot of time, as well as save you from updating these fields manually. Okay, now the 358 report kind of gives you information about all the issued credentials in a particular calendar year, and again, put in the issue date as the filter and put in last year, just to check if you have some, if you've completed all these fields for these students. All right, this is a list of the main data integrity reports that I will recommend. So you have the NAT 120, which is your enrollment data file. That's the biggest file, and most of your errors are against the NAT 120. The NAT 60, which is your unit file, as we were talking about, mostly those are duplicate errors or any vet flags or unit of competency flags missing. That's what will come up on the NAT 60. 80 would be the client avidness summary report, as I was talking before. So the main errors that you will get is to do with the address, survey status, the USI, and the demographic information. If you're missing a labor force status or like a prior education or something, that's what's going to come up there. Easy fix. And the NAT 130 is your qualification flag. So if you're missing parchment numbers, issue dates and things, that's what's going to come up on the 130. So you can run these data integrity reports before you complete your exports, or you can work backwards, just run your exports, do your validation, and then see what errors you've got and work backwards from the error report. All right, now different ways to contact us. I know it's a very, very busy period for you all, so we are here to help. We have the entire team on board. We've all come back from our holiday, so you can log a support ticket, chat with us from within the LRM. There's a small icon on the right, an orange button, which can it just pops up and you can put in a chat, or just give us a call on the 1300 number and we'll be there to help you. Now I'm going to go into the WiseNet LRM to show you all these different pages that I was talking about, the fields as well as the reports. So we'll just run it together. In the meantime, do you have any questions at all? Okay, any questions? All right, I'm just going to go into the LRM. I have it open. So just ignore any dirty data. It's just our demo database. So you will find a lot of information in here because we use it for testing purposes as well. All right, let's start with the courses and units. With the course, as I said, it's pretty straightforward. If you would have downloaded the, imported the course, then it's all going to be in there with all the information, the recognition status and all that. If you do find something missing, all you have to do is go into the action, edit, put in the information, go all the way down and save. In terms of the unit, I've just kept one ready for you, the one that I showed you, the MGT407. So if you've got an error, the duplicate unit error, put in the unit code there, hit enter, it'll pick up all the instances of it. So you can quickly check the description and stuff. This is one way of doing it. And if you want to edit it, click into the code, action, edit, make your changes, and then save. And if you're running the report, I'm just going to open it in a new tab just to show you. So the 0003, you can just click on this or just find the report there. And in the general filter, drop this down and choose unit code and type in BSB MGT407. And I recommend you running the raw data to Excel. It's just easier to read the report that way, especially with this report. So you can quickly check, you know, don't worry about the course ID, that's an internal thing, but especially the ANZAC codes, the vet flags for the courses, as well as the unit, if it has the right field of education and everything. And if that's matching, that means you fixed the error. That's the qual field of education. So you just have to ensure which field you're reading. Don't worry about the qual field of education. It's only these unit fields that are important and they have to match. I'm just getting a lot of questions. Hang on, I'm just going to have a look at that. Oh, okay. So it's just about the webinar. Yes, it is being recorded and it will be made available for you to download from the videos page. And Keith has already put the link in the chat, so you can just, you know, refer to that page. All right. So let's close this. We don't want to save it for now. That's it, the courses and units. Now let's look at the, I'm not going to go into the offers yet. I'll go into the learners. And under the learners, I might just go into one of these. So it's again a dummy student. So basically the first thing that you have to check is their personal details, if they have a valid USI and if it's verified. Then check the contact information. The street and postal address are required, but the mandatory one is your permanent address. And I know most of you are even international colleges. So OSPC, which is the overseas postcode, is also important for you to understand. So if the student has just come in and their permanent address is outside Australia, so you just have to put in the postcode of OSPC. And the other details, if you're not sure, you can put it as not specified, but if the country is anything other than Australia, you have to put in OSPC. It doesn't take, the reason you have to put OSPC is because all the postcodes in Australia is 4 digits, right? But other countries have more than 4 digits, and you can't type in more than 4 digits into that field. And the department has said, just submit OSPC instead of putting in the right postcode, okay? So any students with permanent addresses which are not in Australia, you have to use OSPC. That's what it is. Demographic information, as I said, you can't leave it blank. And if you don't have the information, please choose not stated. So most of these will have not stated as the option. So if you, like, for example, the prior read, go not stated, which means you've asked the question, but the student has chosen not to reply or not given that information. So you just go not stated for these. So don't leave it blank, it'll throw an error. All right, so from the profile, I'm also going to show you the course enrollment. So for a current student, of course, you need the start and end date. You need the study reason and the commencing course identifier. Now, as you can see, it's a 3, but the student is continuing into 2020. So before you do your end of the year reporting, this needs to change to a 4, which is continuing enrollment from the previous year. So you go action, edit, and change it to a 4. For a student who's doing a short course, doesn't matter. It's always a number 8 because it's either a day course or a very short course. So only for full qualifications, you have to do this. Now, I do understand that you may have a lot of enrollments and you can't really go individually into every learner and update this field. So I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of updating that field in bulk. One is through the course offer. So go into the offer, click into enrollments, and if you know, number of students are entering into 2020, so filter by end date, and you pick up all the students that are continuing into 2020. Go into action, bulk update course enrollments. Scroll down to find the commencing course identifier field. Change it to a 4 and perform cascade. So this will change all the students in that course offer to a 4. Now, another way for updating this field against multiple course offers is through the learners. So go into learners. On the left, you'll see enrollment update wizard and choose commencing course identifier update. And depending on the state that you deliver your training, you choose big, you want to just update all the current students. So anybody, let's say who started, your intakes better. So let's say you've had like a June intake. So anyone from the 1st of June until the 31st, 19 December, and we'll have a commencing course identifier for 3. Just apply the criteria. So it'll pick up any course offers that fall within that criteria. And if you see, all right, those batches are continuing into 2020, you can choose all and bulk update the selected enrollments, change the commencing course identifier to a 4 and perform update. All right, now on the same enrollment, I also have created like a completed enrollment just to show you. So basically the qualification issued, the date issued, and the parchment number is very important. So once you've updated all their unit enrollments with the correct outcomes and the end dates, you update their enrollment status to completed. If you have a process within your business to apply actual end date, just put that actual end date as well. And then of course, update the qual issued and the other fields. All right, now I'm going to quickly go into offers just to show you, from within every offer, you can bulk update. So let me just choose one with enrollments. So you can bulk update outcomes, you can bulk update of course, like dates and everything from within your course offers. There is a way to do it even through the Learner's Enrollment Update Wizard and Bulk Unit Outcome Update. But you have to be careful when you are using the Bulk Unit Outcome Update tool, because you have to be really sure of the criteria that you're adding. So I usually recommend doing it through the course offer or even the unit offer pages. So for students who have not completed their training in 2019, let's say they're going into 2020, or their end dates are in 2019, but they need an extension, so you are kind of moving the dates to 2020. If you want to submit those unit enrollments to the department, you have to use an outcome of 70, which means continuing enrollment. Now, as of last year, as you already know, it's not only the 70 that you use, you also use an 85, which is not yet started. So for example, if you have like 2 units which have already commenced in 2019, but you have 3 units to commence in 2020, the units that are not started have to have an outcome of 85, and the units which have already commenced need to have an outcome of 70, which is continuing enrollment. So as I said, I would highly recommend updating these through the course offer or even the unit offer enrollments, just to ensure that you're putting in the right information, because it may get tricky when you bulk update these things. And when I say outcome, I'll show you what I mean by the outcome 85 and 70, what it looks like. With people who are delivering in SA, please don't get confused between the 70 academic pass. That's not what I'm talking about. The NCVER outcome 70, which is continuing enrollment, and the 85, which is not yet started. So units with dates in the future need to have not yet started, and units which have already commenced need to have continuing enrollment. And any student who has already completed the unit as of 31/12/2019 will need to have a final outcome. If they are finishing in this year, then please don't apply a final outcome till you submit your NCVER files. Any questions regarding this? Because outcome's the most confusing part. So I'm happy to give you a couple minutes just to discuss and then ask me any questions you may have. All right, I have a question in here for the learner part. How do we choose the VSN? Should we choose never had one or unknown? All right, so the VSN is kind of an integrated platform. So we already are integrated with VSR, which is the Victorian Student Register. So the system should automatically kind of send all the students who fall into that criteria to the department and bring the VSN back into the system. If that's not happening for you guys, do put a ticket and we'll help you. But if you're asking me, like, what to put in if the student has, never had a VSN or if it's unknown, it just depends on what information they've given you on your enrollment form. So if they've not given you any information regarding it, you can choose unknown, which means that the system will automatically go check and bring back. And if you choose, never had one, again, the system's going to still do the check, but if they don't have one, it's going to assign a new one to the student. So it works both ways, but in terms of choosing never had one and unknown, it depends on what the student has given you on the enrollment form. All right, any other questions in terms of outcomes or anything, or are we good? All right, okay, so coming to the last part of the webinar, which is running your reports, especially the data integrity report. I'm going to run the main report, which is the NAT 120, the 0448. But before that, I did mention during the webinar that I'll show you the USI report. So I might just run that first and then show you the NAT 120. So the USR report, the best one to run is the 0449. Oops, 0449. Okay, it's called the student numbers report. And you can filter the report by USI status being invalid or blank, any one of it. So you can put in a general filter in here. Or even the status reason, you know, which is like date of birth missing or first name missing. So you can get all that information in there. I'm going to just randomly run the report here. Now, it's not going to give us a lot of information. The reason being, you know, we don't have valid USIs in the demo system. We don't have real students in here. So it's all going to say no USI, but when you run it against your application, it's going to give you details whether the student has had a USI and if it's invalid, what's the reason for it being invalid and all that. So run the 0449. Now, these reports, you know, you don't actually have to run it, you know, like once a year during your reporting period or anything. It's always good to run it every month or, you know, probably every 3 months just to ensure your data is good and you don't have a lot of these errors coming up, you know, towards the end of the year. So keep checking your data by running these reports that I'm going to show you. So 449 for USI and 448 for your NAT 120 data integrity. Now, the good thing about the integrity reports are they're all color coded. So I'm going to apply a date filter with anyone who completed their course in 2019. So the COR stands for the course offer registration, which is the actual student's start and end date that you see within their profile, which is called the start date and nominal end date. So the COR end date is the nominal end date. And the CUOR is the client unit offer registration, the unit start and end date. So I'm going to just choose COR end date in the last year. So it's going to pick up anyone who completed their course last year. So whatever you see in green are mandatory NAT 120 fields. And if you find that missing, it means that you'll have to go and fix the data. Now, just to make it easier for you guys, what we have also done is put in some gray fields, which gives you information about the name, the course offer code, and the start and end dates, making it easier for you to go back, find the course offer and bulk update certain things, especially when it comes to location, delivery mode and all that. It's going to be the same for most of the students in that course offer. So pick up the course offer code, go and bulk update these fields. But as I said, all the green fields are mandatory. So when I was running the report, as you saw, I just put in like a date filter. But if you want to further drill down to certain course offers or certain courses that you want to run the report for, you can do that as well. So in the general filter, you can add more filters in here for course codes or course offer codes, contract codes, and all those different things. Because with the NAT 120, you know, it's not only for NCVER, but you kind of run it even for your funded end of the year reporting or monthly reporting. So it's picking up data continuously for all the students. If you run it for the entire year, obviously it's picking up for the calendar year, but you can run the report by month and all that. So if it's for funded data, you can use the same report, but with a particular contract code and course code. Okay, any questions? All right, this last bit of information is for the new clients who've opened new RTOs this year and have no clue how to submit your files to NCVER. Now, I really can't help you with, you know, logging into NCVER and showing you how to upload the files and things like that, but I can definitely help you with the basic information on how to register to NCVER and how to upload your files. So if you come into reports, on the left, you have exports. This is the first thing that you have to do. Click on Avitmus Export. Click on National NCVER. The collection year stays as 2019. Go next. You choose all your contracts. If you don't have, like, you know, multiple contracts, you'll obviously see one called fee for service. Choose that and go start. And this will automatically run your export file. And you click on view exports, just give it some time. Just refresh the page and you will see the zip file there. So once you see the export files, click on it, it'll download the zip folder. Then go in, just Google NCVER. I usually do NCVER login, so it just gives me that page. So once you Google it, that's the first hit. So click on it. For a new RTO, you have to register and you'll be given a username and password. Then you can just put in your username and password and sign into NCVER. The best thing to do is click on the user guide. It's a link which gives you step-by-step instructions on how to use NCVER. So how to upload your file, how the logic works, and how you can read the files and everything. So it's pretty good. It kind of gives you the entire registration process, and once you sign in, what happens next in terms of submitting your files and stuff. So please have a look at the user guide, which will help you with the NCVER upload and validation. Now, once you complete your validation, obviously it's going to give you some error files. Once you get your error files, the best thing to do is go into our help center. So just from your, let me go back into WiseNet. So just from your LRM, click on this question mark, which will take you into our resource center. We call it the Learn Center. So just put in NCVER, and you have the NCVER validation errors in here. This has the entire list of errors depending on the file. So the best thing to do is search by the error code. Let's say you've got a particular error in here. It'll only pick up that error and it'll show you what to do. There are certain things that you may not get because we kind of make or perform those checks within the system itself. But whatever error that you see in your error file, if you put that in there, you should see how to fix it. And even after going through our resources and things, if you feel like you're unable to fix certain errors, please feel free to call us. We're always there to help you. And as I mentioned before, it's always best to kind of complete your reporting and not wait until the deadline, which is end of Feb, because you may have new batches starting this year and you may have outcomes that you have to update. So it's always good to just submit your files for the end of the year reporting. All right, that's all I wanted to show you today. I'm going to be here for another 5 to 10 minutes just to answer any questions. Feel free to either raise your hand, put in a question, and happy to answer. Otherwise, for people who don't have any questions, have a great day and good luck with your reporting, and let us know if you need help. Thank you.